What's up, guys? Jay Thorpe, Flexwork Fitness, and today we're going to talk about how to lose fat without tracking calories. So if you've ever worked with me or if you've ever seen any of the other videos I made, I'm a huge proponent of tracking the foods that you're eating. The reason is you wouldn't go to somebody like a financial officer and say, hey, I want to learn how to save money, and their first thing they're going to tell you is, well, you're going to go ahead and build a budget. You're going to go ahead and see where you're actually allocating your money. Same thing with dieting. You want to see where you're allocating your calories to. So if you don't want to do that, I know it's kind of a hassle. I'm going to give you 5 tips to where you can still kind of lose weight without actually tracking those. And this really is only going to work good for beginners. It's going to work good for people who are a little bit heavier, a little bit towards the obese side of things. The reason is the leaner you are, the more you're going to have to really be in tune with the foods that you're eating. So we'll start with number 1. Number 1 is going to be the water intake. So you want to make sure that you are drinking enough water. You don't have to consume ridiculous amounts of water. Making sure you're drinking so your urine is pale yellow or clear, then you know you're adequately hydrated. That's going to be very important because when you're going on a diet as it is, it's not really enjoyable. You're going to feel slight hunger. So why be thirsty on top of that? And also, if you're not getting the proper water intake, you're actually going to slow down different metabolic processes, and you're going to lower your metabolic rate or your energy expenditure. Number 2 is choosing nutrient-dense foods. This is going to be very important because, again, you're not tracking your calories. So you want to make sure that you're not eating foods which are very calorically dense, because then it's going to be very easy to overeat and set you on the other side of that calories in versus calories out balance. So nutrient-dense foods, or low-calorie nutrient-dense foods would be stuff like vegetables, fruits, having your lean meats, your chicken, doing like your 90-10 beef, things like that. Don't be loading up on pizza and beer and thinking you're going to lose fat. Number 3, satiety is key. So again, when you're on a diet, you want to make sure that we have the hunger controlled. If you're hungry the whole time, it's going to be, number 1, unenjoyable, and 2, it's going to kind of delve you a little bit more into overeating on your calories, because again, we're not tracking, so we want to make sure we have a lot of mindfulness with this. A couple things that will help with satiety is, number 1, eating protein with every meal. So the thing with protein is actually any food that you eat, there's going to be a metabolic cost. So you're going to expend a certain amount of calories just in the process of digesting those foods. Now, protein, it's some studies have shown it's upward of 20 to 30% of the calories you're eating are actually spent towards digesting and breaking down the protein into the amino acids. And then number 2, making sure you're eating foods high in fiber. So again, same thing. When you're eating high fiber foods, it's going to fill you up a little bit more than if you're eating stuff like simple sugars. Number 4, limit the alcohol in eating out. This one's very important because in the Western diet, a lot of restaurants, their foods aren't meant for you to lose weight on. Their foods are meant to get you hooked. Their foods are meant to be highly palatable. So it's very easy to overeat. So say if we go to Eaton Park, for example, you're going to go there, you're going to get your meal, probably going to end with a dessert. Some of their milkshakes are upwards of 1,000 calories. So that's going to be half the food that you should be eating in a day just spent on enjoying a milkshake. And that's not even counting the food that you're eating before that point. So a couple things that you can do, little pro tips to help you. When you're eating out, immediately take your meal, put half of it in a box, and save it for leftovers for later. That's one strategy you can employ with the alcohol. If you do decide, hey, I have to turn up with my friends on the weekend, it is what it is. Try to choose a little bit low calorie choices. So instead of going with like the lagers, things like that, do like vodka with diet soda or gin and tonic, something like that. And then number 5, the little things count. So a lot of times when we get sent over on the calories in versus calories out equation, it's not because we're eating these gargantuan meals, but because we're doing things in which we're just having all these micro accumulation of calories. So one thing for a lot of people is their coffee. So a lot of people, they'll have their coffee, which coffee is a very great food to have for fat loss. But when you're putting a lot of creamer and a lot of sugar in it, you're exponentially increasing those calories from the 5 calories that a large black cup of coffee is to upwards of 300, 400 calories, depending on how much sugar and how much creamer you're putting in there. Another thing can be said about condiments. So it's good if you're eating, carrots, broccoli, celery, and stuff like that. That's great, but when you're loading it up with ranch, again, you're taking that 30-calorie food and you're turning it into a 250-calorie food. So the little things count. The condiments, all the things you do. A pro tip, mustard is very low in calories. Hot sauce is very low in calories. Things that usually tend to be a little bit higher is ranch, the steak sauces, things like that. So again, if you don't want to track your calories, which I highly recommend that everybody does, these would be my 5 pro tips to helping you lose weight without tracking. If that's helpful, make sure you leave a like down below, subscribe for more content. If you guys have any more questions, just let me know and I'll try to answer them the best I can.